What's going on, guys? Okay, today I want to talk about this new plugin by Baby Audio called Parallel Aggressor. And I used it on several tracks in this session to get this sound. All right, let's get into it. So what is Parallel Aggressor? Well, it's a combination of compression and saturation, all running in parallel. The one on the left is compression, the one on the right is saturation, and the one in the middle is the dry signal. If you guys don't know what parallel processing is, I did a video for Baby Audio a few months back on their iHeart New York plugin, where I talk about what New York compression and parallel compression is. And I'll leave a card for that right here, as well as put a link in the description. But for this video, I'm going to assume that you know what parallel processing is. So if you don't, go check out that video and come on back. Now, this is a session that I'm working on for a sample pack that I'm going to be releasing soon. And I've got a few tracks that I put Parallel Aggressor on. Let's go ahead and check out the clap, and I'll talk you through some of the parameters. So if you do decide to pick up this plugin, you feel right at home right away. Now, real quick, let's take a look at the GUI. So in the center, like I mentioned, we have our 3 sliders, and they control the compression level, the dry level, and the saturation level. And they all have solo buttons underneath of them, so you can hear exactly what they're doing. To the left, we have our spank knob. This will set our compression. And to the right, we have our heat knob. This will set our saturation. At the bottom, we've got what Baby Audio calls sonic flavors. And we're going to take a listen to all these different sonic flavors when we get into the clap. But just to let you know what they are, we've got extra punch. And to me, that brings out the transient more. And right next to that, we've got extra smack. And again, to me, that brings out more of the sustained signal. And we'll hear these both in just a second. Right next to that, we've got the SideChaining filter, and this filters out the low end before compression. Sometimes this really helps to not muddy up your sound. Finally, for this section, we've got a mono button, and this will convert the compressed signal to mono. Skipping over the center for a second, we've got the heat sonic flavors. We've got extra hot, and that adds another layer of saturation. We've got tone, and that seems to boost the mid or upper mid range, giving it a bit of punch there. And we've got high and low shelves. The low shelf seems to cut around 150. The high shelf seems to cut around 7,500. In the center, you'll see auto gain. Auto gain roughly matches the input level, allowing us to experiment with different mix balances while maintaining a consistent output. This is very helpful. Right next to that, we've got the output knob, and this sets your global output and is post auto gain. Running behind the scenes is a safety limiter. So even if you do crank up the output, you don't ever actually clip. And this is a great feature, something that iHeart New York was missing. And right next to that, we've got a peak/RMS meter, where if you click on it, you can toggle between peak and RMS. Right at the top, we've got some presets built in, and they're actually pretty cool and a great place to start. Right here, you can actually save your own presets. Up in the right-hand corner is a way to initialize the plugin. And then to the left corner, we've got a couple of different skins. All right, enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and hear some examples. All right, just so we're on the same page, what I'm gonna actually do is go up to my compression here, and I'm gonna go down and add Parallel Aggressor here. So I'll turn off the one I had, and now we'll just start with this one on the init patch, okay? Super. Okay, so this is just the default now. So let's go ahead and kind of build this together so we understand how that works. So one thing I didn't mention before is that we've got 2 meters right here. We've got one here and one here. Now this is the meter for the compression or the spank, and this is the meter for the heat. Okay, so what they actually tell you to do is turn the knob until we get just a little bit of the orange. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, great. That's right up on the orange, and I'll do the same thing for the heat. All right, now that we have the meters set, we can go ahead and experiment with this plugin. So the first thing I want to do is test out some of the spank styles. So let's go ahead and solo the spank, first of all, so we can hear what the spank is doing. Okay, we're getting some serious compression there. So let's go ahead and turn on extra punch. You'll notice that the attack or the transient gets a bit louder. Okay, let's go ahead and do the extra smack, and you'll notice that the sustain or the back end of the clap gets a little bit louder. This is a great way for you to dial in the shape of your sound. Here we've got our sidechain filter, like I mentioned, and this will just roll off any low end before the compressor happens. Not doing too much in this case, but would be really helpful for like a kick or maybe a bass. Okay, this is your mono switch, and I'm not going to use that here because I want to keep my claps pretty wide. Let's jump over and hear some of the heat styles. So extra hot's going to add more saturation. So let's turn this off and let's turn this on. And first of all, let's just hear what the saturation sounds like. Okay, let's add an extra layer of saturation. It gets really, really gritty, and when you do that, you'll have to make sure that you level it in right. Okay, we'll hear a little bit of a boost here when I hit the tone knob. Nice mid-range boost. And then we've got some high pass and low pass filters for the saturator. And that just helps us keep a nice clean signal. It doesn't really matter that we're rolling it off because we've got all the original signal coming through plus the compression coming through. So sometimes we don't want to add saturation to the super highs or the super lows, and that's a great option. Nice. Now, what I want to do is delete this one and turn this one back on. And I dialed this one in, and I think it sounds really nice. And what I want to show you is how it sounds before I added Parallel Aggressor and then after I added the one that I dialed in. So we'll turn it off and we'll just listen to the dry clap. And here we go with Parallel Aggressor. Adds a lot more energy, color, and life to the sound. And I'll show you that if I turn up the output, we'll just hit that limiter and actually never clip. So check this out. Yeah, you can see right down here that I'm not hitting the red at all. So I did go ahead and put it on the melody as well. So let's go ahead and unsolo the clap. And we'll listen to the melody real fast, and we'll hear how that helps it bite through the mix a little bit. So here's without it. And then I'll toggle it on. Really thickened it up a little bit. So let's hear what that sounds like in the mix. It all but disappears when we turn it off, but it really brings it out as we turn it back on. I also added it to the piano. Okay, let's hear how that sounds. So here's our piano sound. Here's our Parallel Aggressor. And what we'll do is A/B it again. Okay, so without it, and then I'll turn it on. Really dirties it up, adds a little bit of bite, warmth, and a ton of aggression. Now, you just have to be careful when you use saturation on an instrument like a piano, but in this case, it is a darker song, and I don't mind gritting it up a little bit. And again, it really helps it cut through the mix. I'll go ahead and turn off the melody and turn on the piano so we can hear it. Nice, awesome. Again, really helping it cut through the mix. I really like it. And finally, we'll go ahead and listen to what it's doing to our master. Because remember, parallel processing is great for individual instruments, but Also for busing, groups, and masters. If I turn this off, you'll notice the music just gets a little bit out of control, all right? And when I turn it back on, it not only becomes more even, but it's got a nice breath to it as well. So let's check that out, okay? I'll turn it off. To me, this evens out the signal and adds a little bit of life to it that wasn't there before. Parallel Aggressor is right now $29, and for $29, I'd say, what do you got to lose? Also, Baby Audio has got a couple of bundling options with a few other plugins if you're interested in that too. I'll put a link in the description to the Baby Audio website. Now, this sample pack session is not done yet, and a lot of things need to be cleaned up, like the drums, for example, need to punch through more. And the way I'm going to do that is by using sidechaining. If you guys are struggling with sidechain compression, I've actually got a video that I'll put a card right here for and a link down in the description. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.